If you want your website to show up at the very top of search results when people are looking for your products or services, the very first thing you need to do is start with keyword research. If you don't know which keywords to put on your website or which pages of the website they need to go on, how can you expect Google to understand what your website's even about? So without further ado, let's get into it. In the last 3 episodes, we've spent a great deal of time focusing on the importance of lead nurturing, how to set up a lead nurturing system, and even the best medium for communicating via your lead nurturing system. And there's a good reason why we've spent so much time focusing on lead nurturing to start with. And that's simply because it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to show you how to generate more leads if you don't already have a system in place to then take those leads and turn them into sales, right? Like, it would really just be a waste of your time, your money, and your energy to generate more and more leads and then just not have them close into sales, which nobody wants that. Now, if you've ever heard of Frank Kern, he's one of the top online marketers in the entire world. And he's been noted for saying that he won't even work with companies that don't already have a system in place to take leads and turn them into customers. And that's because he understands that more leads won't help if the leads aren't turning into sales at a high rate consistently. So, we wanted to help you position yourself for this next phase of marketing, which is going to be geared more towards generating leads for your business. Now, to generate leads online, you really need 2 things. The first is traffic. All right, you got to have people and visitors looking at your offer, and then I kind of gave it away there. The second is a way for people to become leads or customers, which would be through a website or landing page. Now, in this episode, we're really just going to be focusing on the first side of that equation, which is traffic. So let's just get right into it. The most important thing to remember about traffic is that not all traffic is created equal. Some online traffic will convert into customers at a really high rate, and other sources of traffic online just simply don't. So if that's the case, then what is the best source of online traffic? Well, it does vary from case to case, but for a vast majority of businesses out there, you'll find that there's one source of traffic that converts higher than any other. Any idea what that might be? If you guessed search traffic, then you would be correct. And there's 2 main reasons for this. The first is that when somebody goes to enter a search into Google or some other search engine, they're looking for a solution to a need, problem, or desire that they have, which means they're actually showing intent. Let's say that they pop their tire on the side of the road and they're looking for a repair shop nearby. First thing they're going to do is open up Google on their phone, do a quick search, and whatever company they land on is most likely going to get their business. I mean, people aren't going to go to their email or social media when they need to find a product or service. They go straight to a search engine, whether it be Google, Bing, Yahoo, or even Amazon. Now, when you position your business to show up at the top of search results when people are looking for whatever products or services you offer, they're going to find you in the exact moment that they're searching for the solution that you offer. Like, how brilliant is that? They have a need, and you have a way to fill it, and search engines are the connection between the two. The best part is, the traffic is free. Now, when I say free, I don't want you to think that it doesn't take an investment of time or money to actually generate traffic from search engines, because, trust me, it does. But rather, what I mean is that you don't have to actually pay for each visitor that comes to your site. With most traffic sources, there's a fixed cost, which means that the more traffic you get, the more you end up spending. But when you rank your website in search engines organically, it technically doesn't cost you any more money for your site to be in position 3 as for position 5 or 6 or whatever position, right? So that means that with the right strategies, you can generate a lot of highly targeted traffic and see huge profit margins from your marketing efforts. In other words, organic search traffic is highly scalable and profitable. Okay, so now that we've established why ranking a website in search engines is so important, I'm going to actually walk you step by step through the first and possibly the most important aspect in getting a website to rank in Google. It's something we call keyword mapping. And this is where we figure out what keywords Google expects to be on highly authoritative websites and which pages of the website each keyword belongs to. And there's a whole process that we go through to accomplish this, which I'm going to show you in just a sec. But before I do, I just want to stress how important this step actually is in the process of ranking your website on Google. If you skip this step, it's going to be very difficult for you to get your website to the top of page 1 on Google. Now, without further ado, let's jump into it.
Now, as we get going here, there are a few different tools that you're going to need to use throughout the keyword mapping process, but each one of them is going to be free or offer some sort of a free trial. So here are the links to those tools you'll need in order to complete the keyword mapping process. So the first tool you need is the browser extension called Keywords Everywhere, which is going to allow you to see extremely detailed information about the different terms people are using on the Google search engine, which is really important. So all you need to do is go to the link keywordseverywhere.com. Then you just click to install on either Chrome or on the Firefox browser, whichever one you use personally. Now, if you don't already have one of those two browsers installed, they both are free, so you can just go to firefox.com or chrome.com and download the browser, which will then allow you to download the browser extension. Now that you have that installed, you'll need to set up the second tool used in the keyword mapping process, which is called KW Finder. So this tool is actually going to allow you to see which terms people are using to find your specific products or services on search engines, which is just awesome. Now, all you need to do is go to kwfinder.com, and before you get signed up for the free 7-day trial, just make sure you have at least an hour or so set aside for working through this process with this tool. If for whatever reason the trial does expire after the 7 days and you haven't completed the process, you can always use a second email address just to sign up for a second 7-day trial so you can complete this keyword mapping process properly. So when you're ready to go, just click the register button in the upper right hand corner. Now all you need to do is enter your information in here to sign up for the free 7-day trial account, and also there's no credit card required, which is great. Now that you're all signed up there, the last thing you need before starting the keyword mapping process is a way of editing spreadsheets. Now some people prefer to use Microsoft Excel for this, but you can also use Google Drive and particularly Google Spreadsheets within Google Drive. So for this example, I will be using Google Drive since it's a free tool that anyone can access simply through a free Gmail account. So all you need to do is just sign into your Gmail account, which if you don't already have one, you can sign up for free at gmail.com. Now once you're signed in to your Gmail account, you just click on the little gray collection of boxes up here in the top right hand corner and then select the Drive icon. From there you can create a folder that contains all of your files. And then just upload our template spreadsheet and then right click and select Open as a Spreadsheet. Now on the spreadsheet, you'll see a few different sections. Here's how it works. So this left-hand column right here is where you're actually going to list out all of the different terms that you'll be using in the keyword mapping process. So this first section here is where you'll list your main term, and then these are where you'll list the terms related to the products or services that you offer, depending on what type of business you have. And then these are the terms that you'll list from KW Finder, that's a tool we'll get to here in just a second. And then in these columns here, you'll notice it says homepage. So this is where we'll transfer some of these terms from the terms we find in KW Finder, and we'll place them in these columns, and these columns will actually represent the pages of your website. So you'll know exactly which terms and which topics and everything you need to talk about on each individual page of your website. And then also we'll get to this in a bit, but it'll have the volume of searches, so you'll know which terms are the most important, which ones are getting the most traffic, and the ones you want to focus on the most. So now let's jump into the actual finding of the terms that we need to use on your site. Awesome. So now that you have all of the tools needed to complete the keyword mapping process, I'm actually going to walk step by step through the whole process with you so that you can follow along and complete the same process for your own business. So, to start out with, you need to identify the main term that people would put into Google if they were looking to find your business. So for instance, if you were a dentist in Chicago, the main term for your company would be Chicago dentist. Pretty simple, right? If you're a plumber in Miami, then the term would be Miami plumber. Once you know the main term that you want to be found for, just write it in the template spreadsheet that we provided you. So there's Chicago dentist there in the section under the main term. Now that you've entered your main term into the template document, you need to just think for a few minutes about the different products and services that you provide as a business. So for our example, services might be teeth cleaning, teeth whitening, dental fillings, dental implants, dental x-rays. It's going to vary from dentist to dentist, but just for our example, those would be the terms that we're going to use. Okay, now that we've done that, just take a minute and think again and make sure you haven't missed anything. This is really important to get all of the main services or products listed out here that you offer. So just think about the main products that are making you the most money right now, even the products or services you want to be found for, and then just write those out in the list. Just make sure it's as complete as possible. And then once you're done with that, we'll move on to the next step. Now that you have all of your terms listed out in the template document, we're going to do a quick search and just make sure that you have the correct terms. We want to make sure we're getting the terms that people are using the most in search engines like specifically Google. And I'm going to show you right now exactly how we determine that. So the first thing you need to do is just copy your main term and then open up Google, just google.com, paste in your term, and then click enter. And because you have the Keywords Everywhere browser extension installed, you're going to notice that there's this search volume number right here. And if you click next to the end of this term and just click the space bar, it's going to populate a number of new searches here. And you just want to check and see if there are any that are larger than the one you've entered here. So the one for the search volume for Chicago dentist is 900, over 900, and looks like these are all below. So that term is correct. Then you want to go to the next term, teeth cleaning, enter it in Google, click search, and we see here that it has 4,900 over 49,000, and we hit the space bar, and we see there's nothing even close here. So we know we have the right term there. And then you just repeat that same process for the rest of the terms in the template document that you've already filled out here in this section. So now that you have your list of terms, you're going to use the KW Finder tool to actually figure out what other terms are out there that people are actively using on search engines like Google to find businesses just like yours online. Now, oftentimes there are multiple variations of the different terms people are using in Google when they're looking for specific products or services, and we need to figure out what those are exactly. To do that, you start by taking your main term and you want to enter it into KW Finder and then click Find Keywords. When you do this, a bunch of terms are going to appear with a bunch of data next to it. Then you just want to go through and put a check mark next to each one of the terms that relates to your business, whatever products or services that you offer, or if it relates to your main term. So for our example with the Chicago dentist, we check the Chicago dentist, obviously, and then, because that's the main term, and then best dentist in Chicago makes sense because somebody would be looking for a Chicago dentist in that case if they were using that term in Google. And then dentist in Chicago, we'll check that one. Cosmetic dentistry Chicago is not one of our selected services, so we'll skip that one. Dental implants is, so we'll check that. And you just keep going through all the way till you get to the end of this list, until you've checked every single term that relates to your business, products or services. Then once you've done that, you just click Add to List, and then you'll create a list for your company. So for our example, it's Chicago Dentist, and then we click Create a List and Add Keywords. Now also, you want to make sure as you're going through this process, if you see any terms that don't have this star next to them, it means they haven't been added to your list yet. You can see it's showing the Chicago Dentist list here. So if you see a term that doesn't have a little star and it does relate to your business, just make sure you click the little check mark and add it to your list. So after you've selected all of the terms that relate to your main category term and you've added them to your list, you're going to want to go back to the keyword mapping template document and complete the same process for each term that relates to the products or services that you offer. So the next one then would be teeth cleaning. And for the next one, all you would do is enter the term in here and click the green button again. And it's going to load a whole new list of terms that you, again, want to go through and select all the different terms that you haven't selected yet that don't have a little star next to them. Go ahead and select them. So dental cleaning, teeth cleaning cost, anything that pertains to the products or services you offer, add them there, and then click Add to List. Make sure you have the right list selected. Add them to your list, and you'll just repeat that process until you've gone through all of the different terms that you wrote out on the template document. Now, depending on your business, the final list could have 20 terms or it could have 200 terms, but the main thing is you just want to make sure that you're putting a check mark next to any term that people would put into Google if they were looking for your products or services or whatever it is that you offer as a business. Now, after you've gone through and completed that process with all the terms on your list, you'll want to download the list in a CSV format. So all you need to do is click Export as a CSV, and you'll see that it's going to download here. Then from there, you want to open up your Google Drive folder that you've created for the keyword mapping process. And then you'll just drag and drop that file that you just exported from KW Finder that has your list of keywords or terms. And then right click and open as a spreadsheet. Then you should see something that looks similar to this. And what you're going to want to do is select the first row here and go to View, Freeze. So freeze that one row, and then click this little arrow here and sort from Z to A. So what that's going to do is it's going to sort all the different terms from the highest search volume down to the lowest. And the reason we're doing that is because we care the most about the highest search volume terms. And Chicago Dentist, that's the main term. It has the most search volume. You can see the correlation there. Teeth whitening would be the next most important. It has 2,400 searches a month. So we'll get into that a little bit more. But once you've sorted those terms, then you just highlight and copy all of them. And then
I'm going to paste them right here under the terms from KW Finder. Now, after you have all those terms listed out, you're going to take each term and categorize it. So for this first term, Chicago dentist, we're going to cut and paste in the column for the home page. This is the main category. It's the main term that describes the business, so it needs to go on the home page. And then anything related to Chicago dentist, Chicago dentistry, anything of that nature will go in this column. And then each of these other terms that describes other related services are going to go in other columns. So teeth whitening, family dentistry, that has to do with Chicago dentist, dental implants, that's new. It's a different service, so we put it in its own column. Dental implants, Chicago would go under dental implants. Best teeth whitening would go under teeth whitening. Emergency dentist would be Chicago dentist. Best dentist in Chicago, would be under Chicago dentist. So you get the idea. You go through and do that same thing for every single one of these terms until you have each term categorized out. And each of these columns represents a page of the website that needs to contain information about all the different terms that are in each column. And here's the final product. So this is what it should look like when you have all of the different terms listed out for each page of the website. Hey, thanks so much for sticking around to the end of this video. If there's anything you have questions about, don't be shy. Just drop them in the comments below. I'll answer your questions there. Also, smash that like button if you haven't already. It really helps with the YouTube algorithms to get this video spread to more and more people. And subscribe if you haven't already as well. Hey, I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.